It's October the 30th, 1974. The location, Zaire, Africa. It's about 4:30 in the morning. And a young, strong, 25-year-old heavyweight champion is making his way to the ring. Now, most prognosticators would say that he's the favorite, that he shall win this fight. But the fans in Zaire, the fans in America, and the fans around the world are saying something totally different. You see, they're believing that a young 32-year-old, brass, extremely confident man by the name of Muhammad Ali is going to win the match. Y'all know Ali, the self-promoting one. Y'all know Ali, the one who rhymed, said all different types of stuff. Y'all know Ali, the activist, the boxer, the one from the Nation of Islam. They're saying that he shall win the fight. In fact, as Ali is making his way to the ring, the crowd is yelling, Ali Habamaye, which means Ali kill him. But most boxing experts do not believe that Ali is going to kill George Foreman. Instead, they believe that George Foreman could hurt Ali very badly. But Ali had a plan. And Ali had intentions to do what he does. Float like a butterfly, sting like a bee. He had every intention to float around that ring and just jab him, and just jab him, and keep him at bay until he saw that opportunity to land that right cross. But mama, when the fight started, something different took place. Instead of Ali floating, Ali leaned up against the ropes and allowed the powerful punching George Foreman to wail on him. He's sitting here like this, and Foreman is just opening up with body blow after body blow after body blow against Ali. They would later call that the rope-a-dope. And Ali stayed there for about 5 rounds until Foreman was exhausted, wore himself out, and then Ali went to work and started peppering him and peppering him and peppering him with punch after punch until he knocked him out. But Carrie, if you've had a chance to watch the documentary or do a little research behind that fight, or if you were alive during that time, you will remember that there were some underlying tension that was going on. That the way in which Ali self-promoted that fight, the way in which they characterized George Foreman as this big, dumb ape, the way they portrayed him as he held up his American flag during the '68 Olympics as being somebody not in touch with his own people, played a part and created internal tension within Foreman, an external tension with Ali. And he took all this tension into the ring when it was time to fight. And people believe That was another reason why he wore out so quickly. He was too aggressive trying to avenge himself. But as we look at this text, Shayla, we have two heavyweights who found themselves in Haran. We have Laban. And Laban is the uncle. He is the patriarch, the one in charge, the big man on campus, so to speak. But my man Jacob is the visitor. He's the nephew. He is the one running for his life. But he's also the one running from his past. While he's running from his past, he gets to Haran and he sees the beautiful Rachel, the daughter of Laban. And he falls instantly in love. Love at first sight, Shania. So Laban asks him, what will your wages be for working? And Jacob says, I will work 7 years for Rachel's hand in marriage. And he does just that. He works for 7 years, and at the end of that 7-year period, he asks for Rachel's hand in marriage. They throw a big party, a big wedding, this big old festival, and that night, Jacob is expecting to receive Rachel in his tent. But instead, Laban gives him Leah. Now, Jacob is furious. He approaches Laban and says, what have you done to me? Why did you not give me my Rachel? He says, that's our custom. That's just not what we do. We don't give the younger before the older. Take this one. Finish the week with this one. And then we'll give you Rachel also. Just as long, listen to the caveat, this is just as long as you work another 7 years for me. Jacob agrees. And now here's where the tension shifts from Jacob and Laban to Leah and Rachel. As you have 2 women vying for his love, 2 women who are trying to have children just so they can show Jacob they love him, trying to win his attention. Well, they have together 12 sons. The next to the youngest, his name is Joseph. And at the birth of Joseph, the tension shifts back to Laban and Jacob. Because Jacob says it's time for me to roll. I've been here 14 years. I've worked hard for you. When I got here, you had nothing. And because of me, you have prospered. So now it's time for me to provide for my family, to do my own thing. It's time for me to roll out. Peace. Well, Ali, Laban ain't trying to hear that. He says, what will your wages be? You just name your wages. Whatever you want. I understand that because of you, I have prospered. There's something special about you. something different, something unique about you. And because I am connected to you, I have been blessed. So what are your wages? Laban is tone deaf. Yet he hears what he has to say, but he ain't trying to hear any of what Jacob is trying to say. All he sees is that his cash cow, his profit maker, is getting ready to leave him. The one who has allowed him to be blessed is getting ready to leave him, and he does not want to hear any of that. He is more concerned about the anointing than he is about Jacob. He doesn't want to hear about his dream. He doesn't want to hear about his entrepreneurship. He doesn't want to hear about him going home. He is more interested in losing that anointing. Be careful, Shania. Be very careful. Because some people are more interested in what you can do for them than they are in you as a person. They're more interested in your gifts. Shania, they're more interested in your talents. They're more interested in your knowledge, in your wisdom, in your body, in your finances, in your house. They're more interested in the things that you can do to help them get to where they are trying to go than they are interested in you. Be careful. Because that was the mindset of Laban. So Jacob says, I don't want you to do anything for me. But here's my proposal. Here's what we can do. Let me walk through your goats, your sheep, and your lambs. And for every spotted, speckled, or striped animal, those will belong to me. You keep all the plain Jane ones. You give me all the ones that are striped, speckled, or spotted. And we'll keep them separate. That way, if you show up, you'll know what's mine and you'll know what's yours. Because you just look for the mine, it's going to be the spot, speckled, or striped. Laban says, cool. We can do that. But look at what he does next, Elijah. Look at what he does. Look at this. That joker, he sends his sons over to the flock to take away all of the spotted, striped, and speckled animals before Jacob could get there. And he takes them 3 days' journey away. So they can't wander back. Jacob can't go take him. There can be no confusion. He's taking these things 3 days away. Everybody's not trustworthy, Lakeisha. Especially when your interest conflicts with their interest. People will do whatever they can do and say whatever they can say to further their own personal interest. It's something about greed. Because that greed will just pull on you and tug at you and pull on you in such a way that it will cause you to say and do things you have no business saying. It'll pull those selfish desires out of you. It'll pull those sinful ways right up out of you. That's why the great apostle Paul says that the love of money, Shania, is the root of all evil. The love of money. Not money itself, but the love of money is the root of all evil. The love of it. It's what you think money can do for you. It's the obsession with the money. That you can't live without a certain amount of money. That pursuit of that money can grab us and cause us to say things and to do things that we have no business doing. But Jesus put it like this in the Gospel of Luke. He's talking to a young man about his inheritance. And the young man wants to know what will happen with his brother's inheritance. And Jesus tells the young man, don't you worry about the inheritance. But here's the thing you should be worried about: the kingdom. Worried about the Father. You see, sometimes we get our mindsets mixed up and we become more consumed with the earthly things than the heavenly things. But Jesus says you can't serve God and mammon. What? You can't serve God and money. You can only serve one. Which one you gonna serve? Which one you gonna serve, family? God or the greed on the inside of you? God or that greed that's trying to turn you upside down inside? God or that greed that has you thinking that you need to be like everybody else and have what everybody else has? But here's the thing. Why can't we both win? Why can't we have situations where it is a win-win scenario? I mean, think about it. Jacob has already been a blessing unto Laban. Laban has prospered because of that. But he's not satisfied. He wants more and more and more. But it could have been a win-win. You get some, I get some. But to all my leaders out there, Jacob is not wanting to treat his people right. Doesn't want to pay them a fair wage. Doesn't want to take care of them. You got to take care of your people. You got to take care of your folk. The most important resource that we as leaders have is our people. And they're not just a means to an end, but they are people with lives and feelings and emotions and dreams and aspirations. They have good times and bad times, just like you and I. But if we can learn to take care of our people and love on our people. Yeah, the stats are good, but can I take care of my people? Yeah, we need to get the job done, but can we take care of our people? That's where it's at. Loving on our people. But Laban doesn't see that. He's trying to be greedy and get everything that he can get. But Jacob does not allow it to discourage him. Instead, he has a plan. So he goes outside, takes his machete, and cuts down some tree branches. Then he takes those tree branches and takes that same machete and he begins to cut some of the bark off of the trees. He doesn't skin it all together, but just little pieces out. A piece at the top, a piece at the bottom, a piece on the backside to where it looks striped, spotted, or speckled. And here's what he does. Jacob says, when the animals come to the trough to get water, I'm going to place this spotted, speckled, or striped branch inside of the water, so that when they not only get water and they also begin to mate, they will see the spotted branches. And then they will bear children that are spotted, speckled, or striped. And as we know, it works. And Jacob begins to prosper. Every time we turn around, more spotted, speckled, or striped sheep, lambs, and goats are being born. And Laban's crop is getting lower. Because here's what he would do. When he saw the strong ones coming, he made sure that stick was in there. But when the weak ones were coming, he'd pick it out. Now, I told you he had a little bit of hustle in him, didn't I? And the hustler is hustling the hustler now. But Pastor, do you believe that by looking at some spotted tree branches as the animals were mating, that actually they gave birth to spotted, speckled? Is that really true, Pastor? I don't think so. Personally, I just think it's a myth. But here's what I believe is going on. God is faithful. Remember, God appeared unto Jacob in Bethel and said, I am going to bless you. I'm going to be here with you. And he's been telling him this step after step after step. And he has been showing him this discretion after discretion after discretion. Now that somebody else is committing a discretion against him, God is still faithful. And God is still taking care of Jacob. But Nehemiah, you know how it is, right? When you start to prosper, when you start to get rich, when good things start to happen to you, folks start talking. Y'all know how it is. Grapevine, right? That's what it happened. Folks start talking. Y'all see Jacob's flock is getting very large, and Laban's flock, look, it's sick. Like something wrong with his flock. And them sons, the ones who had something to lose, my inheritance is starting to shrink. What's going on? And Laban hears about all this. And he starts looking at Jacob all sideways. Y'all know how we do. All side-eye, sideways. He can't prove that there's some shenanigans going on, but he believes that something ain't right. Jacob senses this. But not only does Jacob sense this, Anai, but God senses this. And God shows up and tells Jacob, it's time to roll. Time to go back home. Time to return to Beersheba. Time to go back to Canaan. And I will be with you. Don't you worry about Esau, your brother, who the last time you saw him, he was seeking to kill you. Don't you worry about him. Don't you worry about what Laban is going to say. I got you. I will be with you. The guy who told you that no matter where you go, I'm going to be with you. I shall be with you. And he says something similar to Jacob's grandchildren. In the book of Deuteronomy, he told them that no matter where you go, I shall be with you. He told the same thing to a young man by the name of Joshua as he's transferring power from Moses to Joshua. He tells him, I will be with you. Don't be dismayed. Don't you fear. I got your back. And he said the same thing to his disciples before he left. Jesus says, go ye therefore and make disciples of all the nations, baptizing them in the name of the Father and the Son and the Holy Ghost, teaching them all things I have commanded you. Then he said, and lo, I will be with you even until the end of the age. I am going to be with you as you go and knock on the doors. I shall be there with you. And he says the same thing to you and I. He says, I got your back. I shall be with you. I am your Lord. I am your God. I will take care of you. Well, Jacob calls Rachel and he calls Leah. They get together out there by the oak tree, have a little conversation. Jacob says, now you know how I have worked for your father. I've served your father faithfully. And your father has benefited tremendously from me working for him. But he's changed my wages 10 times. And even in the midst of changing my wages, God has continued to bless me. He has continued to take care of me. Jehovah Jireh has provided. He's appeared to me in a dream now. And he says that it is time to go home. So it's time for us to go. What y'all gonna do? Barbecue, a meal do. So here it is. So here it is. Them girls say, well, Jacob, not only has our father treated you bad, he's been treating us bad as well. He sold us to you, but we didn't get 1 cent of the profit. He spent all of our inheritance on him. I mean, shouldn't we, the children and the grandchildren, benefit from all that has been taking place? We're going to go with you. Wherever your God says go, we're going to roll with you. They don't waste no time. They jump up on them camels, get all the flock, get all your clothes, pack up everything. Don't tell nobody where we're going. You don't need that one over there. Just get 1 pair of shoes, 1 shirt, 1 pair of pants. Let's roll. They barbecued and they left. And they start off and they're on their journey. And they cross the Euphrates River and they're on their way. Now it's 3 days before Laban realizes that they have gone. But when he realizes it, he is livid. He grabs his family members, he grabs his posse, and they start off after Jacob. Can you just imagine the thoughts running through his mind as he's chasing after Jacob? Can you just imagine all the anger and the fury? Can you just imagine how vengeful he's wanting to be when I catch up with that joker, Jacob? It takes him 7 days to catch up with him. But the night before they catch up, God appears unto Laban in a dream and tells Laban, don't you touch Jacob. Don't you say anything good or bad to Jacob. Once again, God is being faithful. Jehovah Nissi, the Lord thy banner. It simply means the Lord will take care of you. The Lord will protect you. It's going to take care of Jacob. He says, you can go home. I got you. Don't you worry about Laban. Don't you worry about Esau. I got your back. He's doing just that. When Laban sees Jacob, we have the showdown in Gilead. And Laban throws the first punch. I mean, it's a verbal punch, but it's a punch. Laban says, why in the world did you do this? Why did you leave? Why did you take my children and my grandchildren and you didn't even say that you were leaving? And you taking my daughters like this? You taking them captive and taking them with you back to your place? Why did you do that? I mean, you could have just told me and we would have thrown you a party. Is that what it said? We would have put something on the grill, thrown you a party, let you leave nicely. And he says, and to make matters worse, you stole my idols. I had them sitting up there on the counter. You stole all of my gods and took them with you. Why would you do that? Jacob says, because I was afraid. I thought you would forcefully take your daughters from me. And in addition to that, what are you talking about? We didn't steal anything from you. What are you talking about? We didn't take anything but that which belonged unto us. So do your thing. Search. Go from tent to tent to tent. Search us. If you find something in a tent, that person right there shall be put to death. So Laban goes through Jacob's tent. He goes through Leah's tent. He goes through everybody else's tent till he gets to Rachel's tent. He's going through Rachel's tent, and Rachel is just sitting there in the middle of the tent with the gods in a pouch up underneath her. He's searching, he can't find anything, and Rachel does that lady thing. Y'all know what I'm talking about. She put them eyes on him. Father, that daughter thing, she'll do it well. Father, please excuse me for not getting up. You know, it's that time for me. So I can't stand up right now. And and Laban keeps looking. But he doesn't find anything. And so when he comes out the tent, now my man Jacob is livid. He said, man, you falsely accused us of stealing stuff from you? I mean, what kind of stuff is that? We didn't take anything from you. I mean, we have served you faithfully. And the only reason why you're not here trying to cause harm to us is the fact that our God has stepped in on the scene and been a blessing. That God has been faithful unto us. Now, Laban, you ever had one of those moments where you ain't had nothing else to say, but you need to save face? So Laban said, won't we just make a deal? when we come to this agreement, make a peace treaty, grab some stones. We'll make us an altar right here. We're gonna make us what we would call a demarcation line from a military standpoint. Y'all know what I'm talking about in them lines where you can't cross over, right? We're gonna do that. And you stay on your side. I'm gonna stay on my side. I won't cross here to do you any harm. Don't you come across this line to do me any harm. Jacob agrees. They stay the night. Laban the next morning gets up, kisses his children, kisses his grandchildren, goes back to Haran. Jacob continues on towards Canaan. And they never see each other again. So what's the life lesson? What's the thing that we should take from this story here? God is faithful. God is faithful unto us. Think about what happened. Laban wants to hurt Jacob, but God is faithful and prevents him from doing so. Laban is trying to trick Jacob, taking all the stuff, being greedy, but God is still faithful unto Jacob. People are true. And people will do things they have no business doing. People will come at you in all different types of ways. But as we said before, people can be greedy. They can be self-centered. They can have their own interests. And they will do what they can to fulfill their personal interest. But even in the midst of our haters, God is still faithful unto us. He will take care of us. So we don't have to act out of character to get the blessings that God has for us. We don't have to join the rat race for God to bless us. We don't have to do things that are derogatory and negative and immoral for God to bless us. We just put our faith in the one who is faithful unto us. We don't have to be greedy, just faithful. Be content in that which the Father has for us. Is that not what Paul talked about? Paul says, I have learned to be content in every situation I find myself in. If I have a lot, I know how to be content and chill with the lot. But if I have a little, I know how to chill with the little. It's not about the stuff. It's not about the possessions. But it's about my service unto the God who loves me. I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. Paul had been through some things with Jesus. So he knew how to be faithful unto the one who was faithful unto him. And I just want to encourage you one more time to be faithful unto the one who is faithful unto you. As the songwriter says, he's a keeper, and he shall keep you. He's a way maker, and he shall make a way for you. He's a miracle worker, and he shall work a miracle for you. He's a promise keeper, and he shall work it out for you. He's able. There's nothing that he cannot do. So it is incumbent upon us to be faithful unto the one who is faithful unto us.